Hello, it's me, MeganBob, here at the top of the show, sneaking in to say, if you go over to the Patreon right now, patreon.com/hard choices, there is a bonus episode up right now that is free to everyone. If you go over there, you get a beautiful hour-long bar crawl through all of my number ones from the past 21 episodes. That's right, it is a 21st Boniversary gift from Choose Your Own Adventure genius Chris Newton. So if you want to listen to me make perhaps the hardest choices that I have ever made in this feed, that is where you'll find them. You do not have to be a patron. You just have to go over to that website and then you can go listen to it. Now, are you ready to make some bad choices? Live Intoxicated Hard Choices is streaming for all my 420 and up patrons on March 15th at 6:30 Pacific, 9:30 Eastern. Don't worry, it is going to be recorded and released to all patrons after the fact. So if you're like, I can't stay up that late, or I have work that night, or I really hate Wednesdays, don't worry about it. We got you covered. What are we covering? Looney Tunes. With the usual suspects, Annie Creighton, Marissa Bond, and Chris Newton. You will be involved in Let's Unpack That. And there are some other audience participation stuff that we're not ready to spill the beans about just yet, but you should absolutely get hyped. And guess what? If you are a 169, nice, patron, you get access to part of the Discord now. We've got some channels popping off. The other night was an impromptu Weird Choices, the Spice Rack. Big love to our queen out there, Cardamom. So go over to patreon.com/hard choices. Get the free episode that's there right now. It is titled Bonus Episode - MeganBob's Boniversary Bar Crawl. Sign up, get into the Discord, sign up at 420, and get high with me on March 15th for bad choices. Or I might drink, I don't know. I might do both. Maybe I shouldn't do both. I am pretty confident that with enough bourbon, I will believe that I'm capable of doing a sexy version of Foghorn Leghorn. Is it a sexy version of Foghorn Leghorn? I guess you're gonna have to find out. Survey says probably not, but we're gonna have to find out. Is this one of the interaction segments? Do we each have to choose a Looney Tune and try to do a sexy impression? Oh no, this might be a thing. Well, bad choices, March 15th at 6:30 Pacific, 9:30 Eastern. Come hear us say things about Looney Tunes that we can never unsay and will have to live with for the rest of our lives. February 12th, 2021. At MeganBobness tweets, have you spent hours thinking about which character's the median of fuckability among the Lord of the Rings characters? You don't have to, but I'd recommend it. In case you, like me, forgot, median is the middle value when a data set is ordered from least to greatest. Did they know what they were doing when they asked the internet that simple question? Did they know what they would unleash upon the world? The lives that would change? Maybe. But mostly I just really wanted to talk about fucking Tom Bombadil. Hello and welcome to Smash Fiction Presents Hard Choices, the show where we rank the fuckability of characters from a fictional universe and see what lies at the throbbing heart of horniness. Of course we're going to find out the median. The median of medians. That's right. It's an Oops All Medians episode. Only your Lucast of warm takes, please. Now, of course, we're going to find out the zenith and the nadir of fuckability. But really, it's about the meh sex we had along the way. I'm MeganBob, and I'm the one who rules over this deliciously filthy kingdom. Usually from the shadows. But not today. Today I have to be in the spotlight. Joining me to pay tribute to the many bottles of lube we've used since our first episode appeared in early 2021 are Kit Mulkerin, Dan Mulkerin.
Guess I'm sticking my dick in some room temperature yogurt today.
That's one way to start your week.
Is that what happened to the yogurt? All right.
That's a way to get your probiotics. It's not a.
I don't think it is. Bob, no, it's a way to get more protein, not probiotics. Or not they're not probiotics. They biotics for sure, though.
And Zadkiel.
Hi, I am here too.
You are, and we're glad to have you. We gathered all 21 of our previous episode medians, and each of us has independently revisited our thoughts and really reflected on our growth throughout the series. Oh, and also thought about how these characters would fuck. We'll start off with everyone's median of medians, the one they ranked number 11. Then we'll work our way down to the very bottom, the nadir of beige fuckability. Then we'll head back to number 10 and work our way to everyone's number 1. The fuck that may have been filed under mediocre by mistake. Along the way, we'll defend our feelings with a brief reason for our rankings, but we each get 3 big feels, which gives us the chance to pour our hearts out over the characters who really deserve a little extra attention. Once the lists have been revealed, we'll dive into Let's Unpack That, where we'll try to make sense of this menu of stale bagels and room temperature water, by asking our friends just what the hell they were thinking when they brought these bagels home. As always, it's important to be reminded of the definition of fuckability before we get started. You know what? Dan, it's your turn in the spotlight. What's the definition of fuckability?
Oh, man. I always dreamed that this moment would come, and fuckability is not what they look like. It's about what they fuck like. So, imagine, if you will, that you are into them, which is maybe a bit of a stretch considering some of these people, and they are into you. How good is the sex? And more specifically, what is it like?
And guess what? We don't have any honorable mentions for this episode because we have only done 21 episodes of Hard Choices. This is our 22nd episode. However, we do have what I would describe as a bit of a mea culpa. So you may notice as we get to the list of the 21 medians, they may be different. Some might say very different from the medians that were given in the original episodes. Now, there's a lot of conflicting theories about why that might be.
Math sucks.
The prevailing... Look, future historians will agree that what happened is that math is difficult. And that whenever you let different people do math, things just happen, okay? Look, entropy, chaos, the universe, etc. So, look, the fact that there's 21 medians at all, frankly, we should just be lucky that we're all here, okay?
You guys know that there's imaginary numbers? Like, how are we supposed to rank the fuckability when there's imaginary numbers involved, you know?
This is... and you can't divide by 0. What kind of lawless place is this?
I try not to imagine any numbers, if I'm honest.
So if there's some things where you're like, that's not what it was originally, trust me, we had 2 different math people go back through it and go, okay, but these are what they really are, though. So this is the actual medians. And these are the 21 characters that we are going to be crawling into bed with. Sometimes jumping into bed, but I think most of these probably crawling.
Number 1, Gandalf from Lord of the Rings. First the gray, later the white. Used to be kind of an angel thingy, now a magical peepums, stands a short king, and hates hand jewelry.
Number 2, Data from Star Trek The Next Generation. I believe that episode was all the 90s Trek. The gentle android with a passion for the arts, dressing as Sherlock Holmes, and his cat, Spot.
Number 3, Black Panther from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Also known as King T'Challa of Wakanda, a badass superhero who dresses like a cat.
Number 4, Brienne of Tarth from Game of Thrones. The tall sword lady who tries to do the right thing. Unfortunately, she tries to do the right thing in Westeros, so...
Number 5, Jeff Joker Moreau from Mass Effect. The pilot's so good, the Normandy's AI is like, it's worth having a corporeal form to get a taste of this.
Yeah. Number 6, the Countess from American Horror Story and Our Vampires episode. The owner of Hotel Cortez and carrier of a vampirism-inducing blood virus. She is played by Mother Monster herself, Lady Gaga.
Number 7, Plastic Man from the Justice League of America. Wisecracking former burglar Patrick Eel O'Brien gained stretching powers and decided to become a superhero to atone for his checkered past and keep himself entertained.
Number 8, Munkastrap from Cats. The point of view character, Munkastrap, guides us through the musical, although not toward any super clear definition of what the fuck makes a cat jellicle or not.
Number 9, Jade from Mortal Kombat. A former assassin and spy for the warlord Shao Kahn, she turned on her master to join her friend Kitana in protecting Earthrealm. You may know her as the Green Ninja Lady.
Number 10, Jafar from Aladdin, from our Disney Villains episode. The former scheming vizier to the Sultan of Agrabah, now a genie, Jafar's mainly remembered for making a lot of as-yet unawakened subs go, oh, and for having a beard that's so twisted.
Number 11, Mr. Burns from The Mummy, generic American number 2. Or was he number 3? Anyway, he's the sad sack with the glasses who gets turned into jerky. Plus side, he doesn't need his glasses anymore.
Number 12, Tegan Javanka from Doctor Who. Brash Australian air steward who would just like to get back to Heathrow. And she isn't afraid to tell the doctor that he can't parallel park the TARDIS for shit.
Number 13, George Berger from Hair and our Musicals episode. The irrepressible hippie rebel and leader to a counterculture group. Like any right-thinking person, he's always happy to start shit at the local country club.
Number 14, Go-Go from Final Fantasy VI. A magical mime who can mimic the abilities of others wrapped in endless layers of colorful clothing. Little is known about Go-Go. Not their background, not their species, not even their gender.
Number 15, Joe Majors from our Nicolas Cage episode and the best forgotten but too stupid to forget movie Between Worlds. He's a truck driver who finds himself in a bizarre love triangle between a woman and the woman's daughter who's also possessed by the soul of his ex-wife. It's basically Jerry Springer meets Ghost.
Number 16, Pepe the King Prawn from The Muppets. This King Prawn from Madrid has a way with the ladies and has flirted with the likes of Jodie Foster, Whoopi Goldberg, and Lady Gaga. The main thing he looks for in a fiancé? Quote, breasts.
Number 17, Toucan Sam, the brand mascot of Fruit Loop cereal. A blue toucan whose follow your nose slogan only makes sense if your cereal smells that strongly of candy. Part of a healthy breakfast.
Number 18, Frankenstein's Monster from our Movie Monsters episode. Legoed together from spare corpse parts by Dr. Frankenstein, Frankenstein's monster is large, greenish, and sweetly innocent in his emotional responses. At least until he is confronted with the cruelty of humanity.
Number 19, Clayface from Batman's Rogues Gallery. A washed-up actor turned shape-shifting clay monster and Gotham-based supervillain.
Number 20, Sisyphus and Boldy from Hades. A himbo with a winning attitude and a closer relationship with a rock than most people would think of as normal.
And finally, number 21, Tasselhoff Burfoot from Dragonlance. A Kender rogue whose insatiable curiosity makes him fearless. A good thing, as his racial tendency towards kleptomania and lockpicking frequently gets him into trouble. All right. This is it. These are the leftovers. This is what this is what nobody wanted to take home from the buffet. All right. I guess we're just going to start with number 11 and see what the heck we brought. Zad, who is your number 11?
My number 11 was Pepe the King Prawn. I feel like there's kind of a lot of feeling management that needs to be done for it to be good. He probably, if I had to guess, has a bit of a praise kink. And so if you can avoid making him feel insecure, he'll do literally anything. Yeah. Hey, yes. But, if you can avoid making him feel insecure, he'll do literally anything. Or, better yet, if you can make him feel, deeply insecure, but let him know that you can, maybe get that praise filled later, he will do the imagining for you.
Gasp. All right. Dan, you're number 11.
My number 11 is Joker from Mass Effect. And I feel really torn on this character. Because on the one hand, like the idea of hooking up with a character who's been as touch-starved and deprived of physical affection as he has, someone that you have to be like really slow and gentle with, like that's kind of appealing to me. It could, in theory, lead to some really intense and intimate and emotional sex. The problem with Joker specifically is that I think he would get really self-conscious about how slow you need to take it to accommodate for his disability. That that sarcastic, defensive, self-deprecating side would come out. And so I feel like any kind of attempt that you would make to like meaningfully connect with him would just kind of end in disappointment instead.
Kit, who's your number 11?
My median of medians is Frankenstein's monster.
Okay.
Danger, high voltage. When we touch, when we kiss. All right, you know it. I love tall men, but I'm afraid he's going to hurt me in a not sexy way, like accidentally. But I love the inexperience too, so if certain precautions are taken, maybe worth.
My number 11 is Brienne of Tarth. I fuck her during the first year on the roller derby team. Sweet, awkward, not that great. I fuck her again during the 4th year on the roller derby team. My thighs have not stopped trembling. I do not want to train this horse, but I damn sure want to ride. All right. Dan, who's your number 12?
Big feels. My number 12 is Jafar.
Oh, shit.
Ooh.
Okay.
So I believe it was Chris Newton who pointed out in the Disney Villains episode that Jafar is clearly a guy who has a lot of kinks that he's just been sitting on for a while, which we see when he becomes a powerful sorcerer and gets to play dress up with Princess Jasmine. And I completely buy this reading. I think that's 100% right. This is a guy who has an enormous list of things that he's been fantasizing about, trying out for years now. And so, like, the enthusiasm is not nothing. I think it's actually maybe the most appealing aspect of him from a fuckability standpoint. But he loses a lot of points because I don't really think he's a generous lover. Like, I don't think that he would have your pleasure or your interests in mind for a single second. He'd go along with the stuff that you're interested in, but like only in the way that he pretends to be loyal to the Sultan of Agrabah. Like, it's toadying, it's performative, and that like he's just biding his time until he can seize power and become the Sultan of your ass.
Ooh, a toadying fuck. All right, Zadkiel, you're number 12.
My number 12 is Joker. Man, it's those brittle bones. I feel like the insecurity about the brittle bones really is kind of a limiter on this. And I think that it's really appropriate that he winds up, in a partnership with somebody who has a machine-like grasp on her bodily control. Because, as Dan said, he's going to be very insecure about how hard you can go in order to accommodate for him. And Edie has the capability to go that hard and stop before impact every single time. Love that for them. Not the point here. But like I think though, once you get past the snark, because there's some kind of like, he's fine as a friend. I don't like the snark necessarily as a lover, but it feels like that's a shell. And once you get past that, and you can just kind of get in tune with like where he needs to be, he gives head like he's drowning. And just an absolutely effusive wow boobs.
Yeah.
All right, Kit, you're number 12.
Sisyphus and Boldy.
Okay.
Neither of them are my type physically, but Sisyphus is nice, and I know he's not gonna quit till I come. I'm gonna need Boldy rotated away though, because it's just a little too weird if he watches with that dead-eyed smile.
My favorite thing about Sisyphus and Boldy is everybody else's least favorite thing.
Yep, you're on that end of the bar.
We'll get there for it.
You know what? They're lucky to have you, Dad.
Yeah.
My number 12 is Mr. Burns. not a medical professional, any kind. Make that very clear. But he's got serious injuries. A lot of trauma he probably doesn't want to think about yet. And I would assume, medically, probably nothing better to do except fuck, right?
I mean, he's still got his dick as far as I remember.
Yeah, he's still got his dick in his hands. Like, oh. I don't work in a rehab hospital. But I would go at least 3 rounds with the guy who is trying to fuck away the pain. And Imhotep did a good job on him, so there's a lot of pain to fuck away. So
he lost his tongue, right?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
I know, that's a blow. That's a bummer. But, like, you can't have everything.
Oh, but also, he doesn't talk at that point. So...
Yeah. Well, he does a bit.
No, he talks. Or he tries. You can talk without a tongue. It's just hard.
Yeah.
You can... And you can fuck without a tongue. It's just different.
Yeah.
All right. Kit, who is your number 13?
Go. First of all, Coco Chanel said, before you leave the house, look in the mirror and take off one thing. Because Go baby, you got a lot going on here, okay? Second, Go is such a mimic. Are we just gonna have to 69? What's gonna happen if we don't have the same plumbing? What if they're a peepums? There's so much that could go wrong, but at least they're interesting.
Dan, who's your number 13?
My number 13 is Toucan Sam.
Okay.
And so I feel like if you were like dating Toucan Sam and at some point, you know, early in the relationship, you kind of like bring up the idea of having sex with him, I think the response you would get is he would kind of like look at you and like think about it for a second and then just be like, oh, right. Sex. I haven't thought about sex in years. And then you'd fuck and it would be fine. Like, you know, he's a friendly, helpful guy, so he has the right attitude. I feel like he could go the rest of his life without fucking and be perfectly fine. There's like I don't get any thirst, you know?
Yeah, this is true. I'm gonna try and spin that later, but we'll see if I do a successful job. Zadkiel, you're number 13.
My number 13 is Tegan Jovanka.
Yeah.
And I'm sure she's great. I'm glad that she had the insight to walk away. Before she leaves, the last thing she says to the doctor is that her aunt told her to quit being an air stewardess when it wasn't fun anymore. And I was trying to figure out opinions on characters that I had only tangentially heard of late last night because life is hectic, and then was like, hey, you know what? Read her Wikipedia, wasn't fun anymore, and so I stopped. She seems fine. She's cute. And I guess is notable for being like one of the only companions that walked away on her own terms, which is...
Yeah.
It's all right. It's all right. Number 13.
My number 13 is a big feels. It is Black Panther. Too much of a gentleman. There is something sweet about your partner focusing on you. But when you get the person who takes it as a rule that your needs come first, then the entire sexual encounter hinges on whether or not you're having a good time so that this dude feels like he's allowed to have a good time. Guess what I don't like? High pressure sex. If I say, would you please just fuck me? And the response is, but baby, I want you to come first. Then I feel like not only am I being railroaded into this other person's definition of what makes sex good, I also feel like my preferences are being ignored. I don't want my orgasms to be a fucking permission slip that this dude has to get signed. I'm sure he does not think of it that way, but my dude, I have hang-ups of my own. I do not need to get yours involved in this. Thank you.
That is so valid.
Thank you. Thank you for the cosign. All right. On to number 14. You know what? I'm going to start with number 14. Monkastrap always picks up the phone when you call. Doesn't matter what's going on. He will always make time, come over, fuck you exactly the way you want to be fucked. It is not that it's not good. It's very good. But it is about as raw and emotional as getting a Grubhub delivery. So,
Wow.
Kit, you're number 14.
Ooh, I'm still recovering from the icy cold of that shade. My 14 is Jafar. He's a magical dom who turned into a big snake once. Yeah. Now, the only thing that makes me wary is I don't see him as being into safe, sane, or consensual sex if it doesn't suit him.
All right, Zad, you're number 14.
My number 14 is Toucan Sam. Toucan Sam seems fun. It's canonically an uncle, like a fun uncle. He's a little bit Uncle Scrooge, but he's not rich, and that helps for me. There's actually been a recent redesign that is sleeker with some more colors on the beak. And honestly, I wouldn't want to trade in the older one, older stockier Toucan Sam for the flashier model. Old Sam can get it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's better. I like the old art style better.
The new one is like slightly felted. And then also the hands are a little bit uncanny valley. Like they're extremely hands.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, it was a bit of a thing. All right, Dan, you're number 14.
My number 14 is Tegan Javanka. And I haven't seen any of the old Doctor Who stuff, so, you know, I'm going off of kind of an assortment of like clips and character summaries and some research that I did. But, you know, it seems to me like she's pretty, like, stubborn and set in her ways, and, like, not in a way that I thought was particularly, like, fun or, like, femdommy. Just kind of, like, she just, like, draws a hard line in front of, like, things that she's not into. And that's, you know, that's fine for her. Like, I'm glad that she sets boundaries, but it doesn't speak to me of someone who's, like, emotionally generous or, like, adventurous in bed, you know? I think that, like, in order to have a good time with her, you would need to be the kind of person who's just into exactly the same sorts of things that she's into. You know, you have to be just, like, totally on her wavelength. And if you want to do anything that's, like, even a little bit outside of that very narrow list of things that she likes to do, you know, it's like Zad said, she'll probably just leave.
Okay. All right, on to number 15. Okay, Kit, who's your number 15?
Mr. Burns. The least yeehaw of the Americans, but the most sad sack, so I'll allow it.
All right, my number 15 is Sisyphus and Boldy. Is it? Look, you've listened to the show. We're all friends here. Is it weird that I have a cuckold fantasy where I fuck or at least pretend to fuck Boldy while Sisyphus watches? Be like, get up on that fucking rock. It's so rock-like. And Sisyphus is like, but it's so hot, though, because, like, you're not fucking me. You are fucking this rock. This rock that I can never beat.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. Am I going to have to move him up one?
I know. Yeah.
No.
Now you turn that rock around, though, right? And just be like,
Oh, man.
Rocks.
Rock butt.
Ooh, you an igneous?
Oh boy, we're really missing Claire here. We could all the puns.
All right, Zad, who's your number 15?
My number 15, as I'm cooling down from that, is Brienne of Tarth. I want to make her feel good. I think she's so stuck in being ashamed of her body and being a woman who likes being a warrior. And it's left her isolated, and I want to make her feel good. She probably is not, at this point, particularly good at sex, but that doesn't matter because I want to make her feel good. She'd be higher on this list if it was a list about make lovability. It's not fuckability.
No.
And, you know, if they were to ever go and make a season 8 of the show, I think it would be an excellent opportunity for you know, instill a little bit of hope in an otherwise bleak universe and have, I don't know, maybe Jamie stick around, decide to actually grow as a person. I think that would be a really cool thing to do with season 8 of Game of Thrones if it were to exist. Let people grow and change. in ways that make sense. And I would like that for her.
It would be nice if they got around to that.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, Dan, number 15.
My number 15 is Frankenstein's monster. And it's largely because I'm assuming that we're talking about the version from the 1931 film. Because, like, there are versions of this character who fuck. But the one from that film in particular is inexperienced, insecure, and basically just, like, a volatile man baby. Like, you know, I'm not going to say that a good fuck with him is impossible. You know, much like we see hints of his potential to develop meaningful friendships in the film, I also think that, like, the potential is there for him to develop into a good lover. But, like, you're talking about a journey that would require an immense amount of empathy and patience and honestly just, like, good luck in order to just, like, avoid setting him off.
This is all true. All right, number 16. My number 16 is Tasselhoff Burfoot, the highest selling point. Slapping that cute little ass for every stolen good he has on him. Good use of my evening.
Yeah.
All right, Kit, number 16.
Okay, going back real quick to the rock puns. If Boldy was a sedentary rock, would that make him a pillow princess? You know, is that the kind of like...
Sedimentary rock.
No! Look.
Oh, elementary school. Why have your lessons left us thus?
I like the accidental pun, though. That's very good.
I like it as well.
Oh, it's terrible. Look, I'm more of a life sciences. Never really cared for the rocks. My number 16 is Monkestrap. I've watched both the stage and CGI horror movie versions of this musical, and I can never remember which kitty cat he is. I think he'd be a fine, upstanding Tom to start a litter with, but is he gonna blow my mind? I ain't caterwauling for it.
Dan, you're number 16.
My number 16 is Sisyphus and Boldy. And, like, honestly, I feel kind of bad putting Sisyphus this low, but the truth is, and I hate to say this, Boldy kind of drags him down for me. Because the idea is that we're fucking both of them, right? But Boldy is just a big rock, and I don't want to fuck a rock. Like, I don't really care
but Dan,
how great...
Dan, you're into the rock. That's the premise of the show.
I know I'm supposed to be, but I can't imagine that being the case.
Sorry,
like,
man.
What am I getting out of this?
You're hard for
Have you
you're
never
hard for the rock.
seen like a rock that you were just like, like you know the City of Rocks, right?
I've been to the City of Rocks. Not a single one of them did I want to stick my dick in. Like, I don't
For the best.
I don't really like it gets to the point where, like, I don't even really care how good Sisyphus is. Like, Boldy just looks like he would be really uncomfortable pressed up against my bare skin.
Okay.
Like, I don't know if I'm overly fragile, or maybe I'm just not taking the premise of the show seriously, but that's where my line is, and that's, yeah, I'm just like,
Dan,
I don't wanna.
It's legit okay that you don't want to fuck a rock.
It's fine.
It's truly,
Right.
it's okay.
If you say so. I mean, you're the boss. I just feel like I've let everyone down, you know?
I know this show has probably given all of us some, like, unhealthy standards to live up to and been like, oh my God, I don't want to fuck, like, raw fire, and I feel bad about that. And, like, Okay, Zad, you're number 16.
God, I was really wondering, because, like, you astute listeners, or at least what I'm noticing is Dan and I have very similar lists, and I was wondering where we were going to sync up, and I think Sisyphus being that low for you is maybe where we're going to start hitting. But my number 16 is Frankenstein's monster. I have, like, some discourse that I could do about how, like, Data and Frankenstein's monsters are these, like, fascinating mirrors of one another. But I'm talking about things other than fucking a lot on this episode anyways, so setting that aside for now. Frankenstein's monster is, like, kind of just a dude, or, like, a teenager, like, partially educated but learning fast, experienced, hypothetically teachable. I am drawing a lot from the book. Would probably be higher on this list if it was the Penny Dreadful version, but again.
yeah.
So I think
Yep, that's my thoughts exactly.
Penny Dreadful episodes ought to be coming. Bob.
Oh, no. Oh, we're doing a Penny Dreadful one at some point.
Yeah, but he's, like, also, again, inexperienced, and he, as Dan mentioned, has some very specific triggers that you need to avoid, and you need to avoid them very hard. And I think he could be good if you've given the opportunity, and he would just kind of have to work up to it.
Zad, who's your number 17?
My number 17 is Mr. Burns.
Okay.
I'm sure he's fine. I'm not going to think about this man more than the writers of the film did. See that?
Accurate, though.
But see, like that joke is kind of like disrespecting the film's casting director, who deserves a medal. We all know this.
Mm-hmm.
All the same. 17, Mr. Burns.
Kit, who's your number 17?
Plastic Man. Look, I can clearly imagine what that stretchy tongue do. But I just know he's gonna have the worst stretchy O face that will sear itself onto my retinas. No, I can't. Can't take that chance.
My number 17 is Jade.
Oh.
If you've ever fucked someone and you can't remember if you fucked them or you fucked their friend who kind of looks like them, let me assure you, it's a very awkward experience. Dan, your number 17.
My number 17 is Go-Go. And yeah, I said it in the FF6 episode, but like, I think Go-Go's slavish devotion to the whole, like, being a mimic shtick means that they're not going to bring anything to the bedroom that's, like, theirs. You know, it's just what you are bringing. So, and again, like Kit mentioned, you're going to be limited to doing stuff that's, like, symmetrical. So 69ing or scissoring is pretty much the only thing that's on the table that I can think of, at least. So, like, you know, if you're into having sex with a mirror, then, you know, go wild, I guess.
Dan, you're number 18.
My number 18 is Brienne of Tarth. I think there is exactly one context in which Brienne feels comfortable and confident, and that's when she is serving as a knight in battle. In anything else, particularly something as vulnerable and intimate as sex, she's going to be petrified and awkward. She's going to second guess herself at every turn. And now, getting a character like that to come out of their shell is, you know, the thing that many, many great works of fiction and fan fiction alike are made of. But on a list that coldly evaluates characters based on their objective fuckability, she has a long way to go.
I like objective, our cold objective science that we do here.
Listen, if we're not looking at facts, then what are we even doing here?
Indeed. I often wonder that. Zad, you're number 18.
My number 18 is Tasseloff Burfoot. Quick note for people inside of TTRPG Discourse. I wrote this shortly after the D&D OGL 1.1 leaked. If you don't know what that means, don't worry about it. You know who fucks? Your character that you made for your D&D game fucks. They're hot, they're pretty radical, assuming you made them that way, and if you didn't, you know, that's fine. I like them anyways. In fact, you know, most of the little tweaks and additions and extra magic items, monsters, hell, your whole homebrew setting, I think they're great, and I think that you should be able to make money off of them. And I don't think that Hasbro should. Anyways, I'm sure Tasselhoff is partially responsible for the assumption among gamers of a certain age that gnomes in D&D are meant to be dickheads. But the art's nice, and I'm sorry I didn't read this character's lore dump either.
All right, Kit, you're number 18.
Bit of a big feels, I think. George Berger. Feisty hippie. That's kind of all I could gather about him from the clips I saw, because I'm sorry I haven't seen hair, and judging by the clips I saw, I'm not gonna. I'd rather see cats. Thanks. Yeah, that's wild. That shit looks wild. I think Hard Choices broke me, because I'm just like, what else you got? Do you have a super stretchy tongue? Are you a cat man? Are you at least a sad sack? No, next. It's not your fault, Bob.
My number 18 is the Countess. She beautiful, but I am hornier for her aesthetic than I am for this fuck. Now, I as we all have, the weird experience where it's a sexual situation and your brain wanders to a thing and you're like, why am I thinking about shoes at this particular moment? Uh-huh. And you're like, I guess I could come while thinking about shoes. I guess that's a thing I could do. But that's not really a good use of either of our time. Yes, she is on point at all times. But, like, that is all she is. But she very pretty. I'm going to jump in with my number 19 with George Berger. He has what I see as a bad case of lead singer disease. I just feel like he's going to say something deep. And if I do not make appreciative noises, he'll keep talking about it until I do. Now, does have the hair. You could sit on that face and shut him the fuck up, and the hair does give you something to hold on to. But nonetheless, I would rather he just shuts the fuck up on his own and leaves me alone. All right, Zad, your number 19.
My number 19 is Joe Majors. I don't share y'all's deep attraction to Nick Cage, or I'm not drawn into his movies or his style of acting so much. The plot synopsis for this movie seems very weird, very bonkers, and you know what? No. Sorry. Joe, there's too much baggage, there's too much drama, and I'm just gonna pass on Joe Majors.
Kit and I are like, oh, he's so sad, though.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other stuff going on, Bob.
Oh, yeah, no.
It seems like he's already got a full plate.
All right. Kit, you're number 19.
Gandalf. I've grown a lot since the first episode of Hard Choices, but I still don't think I'm going to enjoy smashing this magical peepums. I'm sorry.
All right. Dan, you're number 19?
Well, Zad, you said you didn't, do a deep dive into Dragonlance. I've read all the Dragonlance books, or at least all the ones with this particular character, and I can tell you, you put Tasselhoff on the correct part of the list, because Tasselhoff is my 19. I said it in the Dragonlance episode. I think that Tass would just, end up irritating me to the point where I couldn't really enjoy myself. He can't focus. He's too much of a chaos gremlin in a way that, doesn't actually lend itself to fun and playful sex, just, disordered messiness.
Wow.
I don't know.
Wow. And Dan, you married a chaos gremlin. You must be worse.
Kit, I hope you take this as the compliment that it is. You are no Tasselhoff.
That sounds like a challenge.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. What have I done?
Moving on to number 20. We're closing in rapidly on the nadir. All right, Zad, you're number 20.
Okay, number 20. Big feels. George Berger. George Berger sucks. He doesn't even suck in an interesting way. The fact is, he's a bully. He's self-centered and disrespectful to everyone in his way, and we're supposed to cheer because he usually spits at the people we don't like. He engages in rebellion through the aesthetics of radicalism, but he only rebels because he thinks he should be the one wearing the boot. He's the kind of otherwise mediocre white dude that puts the lever of charisma on the fulcrum of privilege and just jams it right in the dead center of communities that aren't about him and whose values he only holds when they give him what he wants. And then he just keeps piling his buddies on the other end until he's opened up this space that he can crawl in and claim that he worked for it. And he did. It's just highly disruptive work that nobody wanted him to do, and he didn't actually do the work because he just told his buddies to hop on the lever. Anyways, George Berger sucks. But what sucks most about the George Bergers of the world is that when the time comes to break or hold, they turn out to be just like literally everybody else. The reactionaries then get to point and laugh and say, no, look, they're just as bad as us. Look at George. He's a bully. He's an asshole. He's just like us, and he's right in the middle of them. They must all be faking. They're all disingenuous degenerates trying to steal and break everything you love, just like we told you. They're all dangerous. Something must be done about them to stop them. And the only question is what? But here's the thing. George Berger sucks, but he isn't a villain. George Berger sucks, but he isn't evil. He isn't even special. He's not really even worth banging on about like this, but he's close enough to where I live that my revulsion at this guy contains just recognition and disappointment. And hey, maybe because we're ostensibly aligned, theoretically within community with one another, I might be able to hurt him in a way that matters, in a way that might encourage him to be better. But I can't, and he won't. In part, that's because he's fictional, and in part because he just doesn't have to be better. He's just a dude. Just a dude with a charismatic lever and a stack of privilege to use as a fulcrum, and a bunch of buddies to jump up and down on the lever for him. He's staggeringly mediocre and in possession of a cult of personality. So, we reach the only meaningful question, given what we're trying to do here. Do cult leaders fuck? Anyone out there listening? If you fucked somebody who's got a cult of personality, some otherwise mediocre person who is, slimy, and we all know that, but they've built a circle where it's easy to belong and feel important, as long as you do whatever your George Berger tells you. Were they good when you fucked them? I suspect not, because when you have your followers, who the fuck cares? A true believer might, but it's fucking George Berger. And while just telling people to do shit his way might help when you're stealing a car, it's not going to make you come. And in closing, George Berger sucks.
Nice. Dan, you're number 20.
My number 20 is Mr. Burns. This poor guy.
I know.
Absolutely nothing goes right for him.
I know.
Like, you'd start to undress each other and he'd get his head stuck in the neck of the shirt,
Aww.
He would try to go down on you, but he'd fall off the bed and directly onto his glasses. Like, he'd be inches away from putting it in you, and then Imhotep bursts through the door and demands that Burns give him his dick. Like, I realize that the picture that I'm painting is the ultimate siren song for certain other people on this call. But my read on Mr. Burns is that he needs a lot of things. Mainly, he needs to stay away from the Eastern Hemisphere. But I don't think that sex is one of the things that he needs.
My number 20 is Frankenstein's monster. The film version of Frankenstein's monster is hot, but that is exactly why the show is about fuckability and not hotness. He can't talk. He doesn't know anything. He wants love very desperately. He has some pretty serious motor coordination issues. There is no way through here unless you are prepared to, go through, I don't know, an entire college curriculum with this creature. I love the creature, but this is not the creature. This is a hot mess, and I don't want it. All right, Kit, you're number 20.
Number 20. Joe Majors. I think on the Nick Cage episode, I said that he looks like he smells like the inside of a truck stop restroom. I'm sticking to it. We see how he fucks in the movie. Pass.
And this is it. The bottom. Number 21. All right. Dan, you're number 21.
Plastic Man.
Oh, shit. All right.
Cronenbergian body horror plus the sense of humor of 1990s Jim Carrey can fuck right off.
Put a pin in that. All right. Zad, you're number 21.
My number 21 is Jafar. More like Jafar away from what I'm looking for.
Hey!
Yeah, no, I think he has that desperate need to be in control in public, to have power. And I don't, I just feel like he's the opposite in the bedroom. I feel like he just needs you to dominate him, and that's not for me. I would like to just say, to me, the opposite of passion is dispassion, and he's not down here because I think he would be a worse slay than George Berger. Just that I feel less about it.
Oh, wow. Wow. Just going no, I just care less.
Yeah.
All right. My number 21 is Data. I'm gonna feel so weird because obviously he's a robot. I'm gonna get horny about this, but Data is not gonna get horny about this, which is going to end up making it feel like he's doing me a huge favor by fucking me, and then it's just gonna be super awkward. And I'm no, this will not be good. All right, Kit, you're number 21.
Tegan Javanka. I don't watch Doctor Who, so I had to watch some clips. And
Oh, no.
I gotta admit, honestly, the whole time I was just thinking about Monkestrap. Like,
Wow.
in a sea of meh, she's forgettable. Oof.
Damn. Oh, with that brutal closing statement, we go to number 10 as we work our way back up towards the zenith, towards the very finest of the bowls of plain yogurt arrayed before us.
Just ignore the suspiciously shaped, pits in some of those.
It has a filling at the bottom. A lot of yogurts have that.
All right, and so we go to number 10. Zad, who is your number 10?
My number 10 is Clayface. He's a shapeshifter. Full disclosure, I'm going mostly off of the Lego Batman version. The video game, not the movie version. He's a thick boy, and he seems like he'd have a good time. And he's a shapeshifter.
My number 10 is Toucan Sam. He's so cheerful during sex, and you're like, it's fine. It's fine that he's sort of jovial while I'm just trying to get off it. And it's mostly fine. You almost don't save his number in your phone, but he clinches it when he immediately goes down on you after you finish your toast in the morning. And when you ask, like, what's with the sudden determination to eat you out? He just winks and says, it's part of a complete breakfast.
Yay.
Oh.
I know. Now you want to fuck him, don't you?
Bob. He's my number 10. Yay!
All right.
We found another
Apparently,
Venn
we're
diagram.
high-fiving at this point. This is the part of the bar crawl whenever Kit and I pass each other.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right in the middle.
All right, Kit. I'm high-fiving you. You're high-fiving me. All right. Tell me about Toucan Sam.
Big feels. I don't think I was fair to Sam the first time around. As someone who's been courted by multiple birds, I'm sure that he'll wine and dine me just fine. And
Only the finest of breakfast cereals.
Yeah. And I love breakfast cereals. I don't think they're food, but I love them. Okay. And he'd probably be one of the more romantic people on the list, which I really appreciate. He's gonna take care of me. We're gonna smash donuts, and maybe I'll call him back. Maybe. Also, shout out to Elliot on the Hard Choices Discord, who was like adamant that Toucan Sam is a twink. And I was like, no way. This is like uncle energy. But then I thought about it and I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Slightly older twink.
Yes.
Still in the 20s. Okay.
All right, Dan, you're number 10.
My number 10 is Joe Majors. And as I mentioned in the Cages episode, I feel like Joe Majors is just all hunger and desperation and absolutely no finesse. Like, that's not the worst thing in the world, but it's also just like, it's not going to be one of the best fucks that you ever have. And Kit, I totally agree about your take on his hygiene. It is not his focus, shall we say.
All right. Moving on to number 9. My number 9 is Gandalf. I think it's that playful, like that half drowsing morning sex. Like, I feel like that's what you get with Gandalf. It's that kind where, like, neither of you're not really quite awake, but you're both horny enough. Like, you're just kind of like rubbing up against each other, going like, okay, one of us is gonna initiate fucking, so that way I could just lay here, right? Like, that's where this is going. It's not the best, but goddamn, it's just nice. It's just nice. Zad, you're number 9.
My number 9 is Jade. Gonna be honest, don't know from Mortal Kombat, but second line of her wiki article reads, the lifelong friend of Princess Katana, and hey, would you look at that, history might even say they're roommates. She seems fine, and I'll take a good woman who loves women over many, many, many dudes who are dudes.
All right, Dan, you're number 9.
My number 9 is George Berger. And
right.
Wow.
Honestly, I feel like you guys have maybe the better or more accurate take on him. The only reason he's this high for me is because, like, on paper, I feel like this should work. Because, like, he's open-minded, he's free-spirited, and, like, normally that would make me think he's going to be a lot of fun. But like, man, there is something about him that just comes across as like performatively edgy in a way that young men in their late teens or early 20s can be.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know that I would go so far into reading him as toxic as say Zad did, but like, I definitely think that if he doesn't immediately get the sense that he's blowing your mind with how good he is, he's gonna either like lose interest or maybe think there's something wrong with you.
Question, Dan. You say that he is free-spirited. Whose spirit would you say is it important for him to free?
Whose spirit?
Whose spirit should be free in this situation, according to George Berger? What's the important spirit to be freed? It's just his.
I mean,
it's his.
I guess so. Like, I think, yeah, that's probably true. No, I think I rated him too high. But
that's okay.
Look, on paper, I think it should work.
I know. Look,
this is where hard data fails us. You know, like this is where the emotional reality of the situation, you know, just collides with numbers and no one knows what's going on anymore. I certainly don't know what's going on. Maybe I should say
it's a case of like, no George Bergers have ever tried to get into your pants before, and so you have not had the experience of going like, that dude.
That's like, true. That's true.
Once you've had that, you're like, that dude.
I have yet to be seduced by a 60s era hippie, so I guess I can hold out hope. We'll see what happens.
Kit, you're number 9.
The Countess. Look, I'm a gay man at heart. It hurts me to put her this low, but let it be a powerful compliment to the medians above her on this list that vampire Lady Gaga didn't beat them. She's a fashionista vampire who would turn me into a vampire if she fell in love with me. Would she, though? No. I'd get my neck slit for sure. Let's face it.
All right, moving on to number 8. Zad, you're number 8.
My number 8 is Black Panther. So if anybody remembers my Aries feelings from the Hades episode, I think that T'Challa is similarly good and similarly knowledgeable that he's good. However, he has the benefit of being less arrogant about it. In no small part because I think he kind of cares less about sex than Ares does. And that just kind of makes the whole shtick more acceptable and appealing to me.
My number 8 is Go-Go, and I'm going to make a case for Go-Go.
Please.
All right.
Masturbation is amazing. Masturbating with someone else is so goddamn great. I think Go-Go will give you the quasi-solo sex of a lifetime. Yes, they're doing exactly what you do to them back to you. But you know exactly what you like, don't you? You know exactly what you're craving. This is top shelf masturbation. This is like 5-star luxury masturbation.
This is like the masturbation you need to pay a subscription service to do.
Yes, exactly. This is resort. This is Michelin star. This is everything. No. Yeah, I grant you, this may not be the fuck of a lifetime, but no, there's something here. All right, Dan, you're number 8.
My number 8 is Data. And I think that in an ideal world where we had a perfectly balanced list, Data would be smack dab in the middle. Because, like, he strikes me as kind of the perfect median. You know, like, he's the ultimate intersection between zero experience and maximum enthusiasm. Like, he has not a solitary clue what he is doing, but he is very into trying new things. So I feel like that, yeah, again, if this list were perfectly balanced, he'd be right in the middle.
This is an interesting science thing you have put forward.
I'm very data driven on this episode.
And yet
All right.
only hit number 8.
Kit, you're number 8.
T'Challa, the Black Panther. He's a good, strong, rich man. Safe bet. Maybe too safe. I have this belief that if somebody's got too much going for them outside of the bedroom, they're probably just like adequate in the bedroom.
I feel like this is a valid fear.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I mean, certainly given the way I make my lists. All right, moving on to number 7. Jafar! He's going to keep me on a leash. He has an outfit already picked out for me to wear. He narrows his eyes whenever I'm mouthy. He's competitive and vindictive when it comes to the other men in my life. Oh, he's very toxic. But the ego stroke of being, like, coveted at the same time that he wants you, like, on display just for other people to see. Oh, get you some of that, people. Get you some of that. Go down to your local Target. Get you that. You've been good this year. Get it. Kit, you're number 7.
Clayface. Tragically inconsistently written, so I'm going to go with the charismatic actor who is cured of his mental anguish and joined the Bat family. Do I even need to explain why I put a shapeshifter so high on this list? Come on.
All right, Zad, you're number 7.
My number 7 is a monkey strap, and it's big feels. I love cats. I love every kind of cats. The musical, not actual cats. But I even love the 2019 thing that was committed to film and released to theaters. I just really hate Tom Hooper. Yeah, a man who has a track record of ruining musicals. And Monkey Strap is there to introduce folks to Jellicle culture. Got the main introductory number. And he pitches a very, very straightforward philanthropic pick for the Jellicle choice, which establishes the pattern of nobody truly understanding what the Jellicle choice is and what it does, but whatever. And the idea that Jenny Anydots is virtual signaling in an attempt to be selected, to have her entire sense of self obliterated so that she can be reincarnated free of the baggage of her previous lives, because that's some sort of status symbol, is an objectively funny take on the character. Rebel Wilson's performance is so mean-spirited, so dripping with disdain that she has to do this dumb little musical in order to make a down payment on her second yacht, that the Lantern Jaw, Beefcake Monkey Strap's fuckability suffers by association. So for that one, I would give the same message that I'd give to Wilson and fucking James Corden. The thing we're doing here is kind of important to me. If you don't want to be here, don't fucking be here. Let somebody else be here. That said, the 98 London cast recording of Monkey Strap, the good one, the one that everybody should watch, that guy can get it.
All right, Dan, you're number 7.
My number 7 is Jade, and it just now hit me, like now that I'm looking at my notes on this character. I think, weirdly, the character on this list that I think Jade is closest to is Toucan Sam. Because I like Toucan Sam, I don't think that Jade is much of a sexual person.
Okay.
But I think the difference is she could be. Like, I think she just hasn't been given the option yet. And, like, she has a lot of potential. She's hot. She's willing to do just about anything for someone that she cares about. I don't think that your first fuck with her is going to be amazing. But, like, she just needs to have a little bit of time without having to worry that Kano is gonna suddenly appear and jump kick her. If she can just focus on something else for a second, I think you have a potential candidate for an all-timer with Jade.
Oh, wow. All right. Okay, Dan, who's your number 6?
My number 6 is Clayface.
Okay.
And, depending on the version of Basil Carlo you draw, you might get someone who's, a bit of a histrionic scene stealer, or a hardened criminal, or a self-hating monster man, or a repentant former supervillain who's legitimately trying to be a better person. So, there's a range with Clayface. You kind of have to roll the dice, but all of these versions of the character have 2 things in common. They shapeshift, and they fuck. Case closed.
I mean, these are the 2 most important metrics that we are currently tracking. Okay, Zad, you're number 6.
My number 6 is Plastic Man, specifically drawing from the Brave and the Bold cartoon.
If he ends up getting in the middle again because he's just on the extremes of everyone's list, I'm going to be so mad. Sorry, Zad, go ahead.
No, it's all good. I see where you're coming from, but that particular version of the character from the Brave and the Bold, he's fun and he's flexible and he's not topping. But I think we'll be getting up to a bunch of stuff, and I think that it would be fun.
Listen, Dan, wouldn't he be the perfect median if he's always on the extremes of everyone's lists?
I mean, he's like the objective median, but like I don't know. I want someone who feels like a median.
I think that feels like a median. My dude.
Look, we all learned today earlier that math is difficult.
Yeah, that's true. You know what? I might just get these. I might just get these calculations wrong. You know, maybe. Maybe someone later might say, "Oh no, Plastic Man's the median." But I'm like, hey, I don't know. In the moment, I just did the math as I thought, and he's not. So I don't know.
Would it be valuable to also rank these people by consensus as to the most and least agreement? That might be an interesting.
Oh God, I'm sure there's a way to do it. God knows what it is.
That's usually how we break ties for the median. So we'll see.
Yeah, but yeah.
Dan, if you cheat, I'm not buying yogurt anymore. It's your own.
Kit, you're number 6.
Joker Moreau.
Okay.
I love people who can make me laugh, and I know he's a hard worker. He's got good brain, and I'm sure he gives good brain. Loses points for always wearing that fucking cap, though. You cannot leave your hat on.
My number 6 is Tegan Javanka. You don't have her number, but sometimes you just run into her at the bar. She's always a little louder than everyone, a tiny bit more drunk, a tiny bit more feisty. You don't always remember when Tegan fucks you, but you definitely remember the bruises. Moving on to number 5. Zad, you're number 5.
My number 5 is the Countess, and based solely by the wiki article and some pictures, she's a pansexual polyamorous vampire who kills people with a fancy glove. Say no more, I'm in.
Dan, you're number 5.
My number 5 is Gandalf.
Yeah.
You know, despite how mission-centric he seems to be in the A story of Lord of the Rings, we see that he is perfectly willing to cut loose with some cool pipe smoke tricks, which, side note, speaks wonders to his abilities with his mouth. And that impish twinkle he gets in his eye when he's teasing Frodo means that he doesn't take himself too seriously. You know, you just have to remember, a wizard comes precisely when he needs to.
All right, I'd love to move him up a little bit too.
All right, Kit, you're number 5.
Brienne of Tarth. So awkward and new to love. She's a big strunk who's a shy bottom. One of my favorite flavors. Those walls are going to be tough to break down, but that's part of the fun.
My number 5 is Pepe. The absolute best part of this fuck is that he will slap your ass if you walk around without pants on. And he has 4 hands. I'm never wearing pants again. I want my ass covered in little tiny prawn handprints. I don't need to be objectified to have a good time, but getting objectified by a Muppet? Such a bucket list experience. Oh my God. I love you, Pepe.
I gotta find a way to make this happen for you.
I know.
Just don't know how.
I know, man. Yeah. It's everybody who's on that Muppets episode has walked away with I got needs, man. I got needs that are never going to be met in this world. All right. Moving on to number 4. Kit, who's your number 4?
Tasselhoff Burfoot.
Oh, go on.
Sometimes, you just want a bratty little twink to top whose hair you can pull maybe a bit too hard because he kind of deserves it.
Yep.
Or at least I do.
Yeah. No. It true.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Zad, you're number 4.
My number 4 is Go-Go. Go-Go is an absolutely killer third. And I think this might be what was missing from a few other imaginings here. I think that they're mostly appealing in a group sex scenario, or excellent masturbation, similar solo stuff. It seems like they'd be all right to just kind of hang out with, but I'm not in a rush to go fuck Go-Go on their own. And I hope that doesn't hurt their feelings because I want them to help me tag team my partner with me because have you ever been so horny for someone that you just really felt the only way that could be expressed is if that there were 2 of you so that you could fuck them twice?
Yeah.
And this is as close as this is a good avenue to that in a fantasy setting.
Oh man.
Damn.
That is a next level take.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
I gotta move Go-Go way up.
Yeah. Oh man. All right. My number 4 is Clayface. All you have to do to unlock the fuck of a lifetime is say, no, you don't have to change into someone else. I want you. Suddenly, all that pent up being like overlooked or asked to like hide himself is going to shatter, and you are going to be face down on the bed, hand up your skirt, nose buried in your nape. The true monster fuck is embracing the monster the way they are. I am here for it. And then later on, he's going to get all the freaky shit because he's like, oh, you want me the way I am? Now I can give you everything. And I'm like, yes. I turn into the cookie monster.
The clay is going to be really hard to get out of things. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
But, good for your skin.
True.
Oh, never mind. It makes, okay. Pros and cons.
All right. Dan, you're number 4.
My number 4 is Black Panther. He was my number 1 on the MCU episode.
Yes.
And I still think everyone is undervaluing him. He's athletic, he's animalistic, he's sweet and compassionate, and fucking in the Wakandan royal palace would be incredible. I don't know why I'm cursed with seeing the truth.
Dan, we are undervaluing him. Hard Choices has broken me. I don't... Normal kid would be like, yeah, of course. Hard Choices kid. Meh.
I could do so much better. Swamp Thing's going to be around here in like next week, probably. So I just wait. I get fucked by a plant man. All right, moving on to number 3. Plastic Man. This is a man dying for boundaries. He wants someone to snap their fingers and make him kneel. He wants someone to get him right on the edge and then just walk away and ignore him. He wants someone to grip the back of his neck and say, good boy. I think he'd be extremely appreciative. Also, what a grovelly face. What a fucking grovelly face. No, Plastic Man, beautiful. Mwah, chef kiss. Dan, you're number 3.
My number 3 is Munkestrap. I don't remember who made this point in the Cats episode, but I totally buy the take that Munkestrap is this unfailingly positive beacon of energy and positivity who, like, sees the best in everyone and gets really excited for, like, whatever your thing is. He'd be down for whatever you wanted to do, and he would throw himself into it with just absolute gusto.
All right, Zad, you're number 3.
My number 3 is Lieutenant Commander Data. He is, to quote him, fully functional in every way and programmed in multiple techniques. He's going to be weird and cold about it because it's Data. He's just like that. I think the secret, though, is what Bob said about the monster fuck is appreciating the monster. If you can appreciate Data, not in human terms, but for who Data is, and if you can be like, hey, I would like the fuck of a lifetime, I don't need you to feel any particular way about it, I just need you to do it to me. He is fully functional and programmed in multiple techniques.
Kit, you're number 3.
Jade. Since Mortal Kombat is kind of trash at writing characters, I wasn't sure how to feel about her until I found out she's a bodyguard? Bodyguard meet cute, let's go! Then she gets assigned to assassinate me, but chooses not to? Get over here.
Yeah!
That's a different character, but look, it works.
Oh, that's...
Self-insert fanfic, sorry guys.
That is what this show is.
Yep.
It is.
Number 2. All right, Zad, who is your number 2?
My number 2 is Sisyphus and Boldy. It's a teddy bear man and his bestie who's a rock. Sisyphus would be a great person to be in bed with, and I like the idea, potentially, of having sex in front of people, and I think that Boldy would make an ideal audience for experimenting with that. Again, the thing that everybody else hates about this arrangement is the appeal for me. I understand that this is where it is. So that juices the ratings, and I think otherwise he'd just be like a good person to be in a relationship with. And also a good lay. And also a big rock.
Dan, you're number 2.
Big feels. Pepe.
Yeah! Yes!
So it had been a while since I saw any kind of Muppets content that included Pepe, but like once I started looking into him, I realized this guy has freaking hustle.
Yeah, he does.
We see him driven by his thirst for fame and recognition, and if he turns that thirst on you, it's gonna be like a tidal wave. Like, to, I guess, mix my moisture metaphors. He will do anything for you. Like, nothing is too undignified or demeaning. And, you know, interestingly, we do see that he has a kind of smooth-talking romantic side, and he has been romantically linked to a number of, like, real-life celebrities. So I think he has range beyond just being an over-enthusiastic fuckboy. You know, I think with Pepe, you get versatility, you get enthusiasm, and you get this, like, single-minded dedication to just making sure that you don't forget about him.
Dan? He's my number 2?
Yeah!
Oh my god! Oh my god. Now you guys have to get married.
That's right.
Well, when we renew our vows, we'll definitely
You're gonna
have a Pepe
fuck
there.
Pepe together.
That's right. I now pronounce you husband and wife, so you may fuck King Kron.
All right. Hashtag justice for Pepe. Okay. He's definitely not as good as he thinks he is, but this prawn fucks.
Yeah.
He pulls. He proposed to Whoopi Goldberg and she said yes. And he cross-dresses. As long as you got a set of boobies, he's down for anything.
Yes. He has a tutu, and he loves that tutu very much. He's a good prawn. We stand Pepe.
He is the king prawn.
My number 2, Big Feels. Hadn't shown up on the list yet. You knew it was coming. Joe Majors!
Yep.
Yeah.
This nasty-ass motherfucker. This sweaty, horny, cough syrup swilling, fuck you through the couch motherfucker. I love a Taco Bell fuck. This is better than that. This is the Taco Bell fuck after you're a little hungover, you desperately need a shower, you're eating soggy cereal you left out overnight and the milk is room temperature, and you both taste like cigarettes and mistakes. There is no ego here. There is no nothing except doing whatever feels good. Not whatever is smart or cool or sexy. Just whatever feels good. It's not that nasty sex is the best sex. It's that sex where neither of you is under the impression that you need to look cool is the best sex. Fuck looking cool. There's a place for photogenic sex, but it is somewhere far, far below the sex where you both look half crazed, unwashed, and desperate to fuck each other one more time before you give in to the need to eat chalupas.
There's the Joe Majors and the Countess. That's the ends of the spectrum.
It's going to be rappers stuck to my face. All right, this is it. Number 1, the creme de la me. Who amongst this sea of, like, middle of the road are we like, yeah, you know what? I would pull over for that. Okay. Zad, you number 1.
My number 1 is Gandalf, and it is a Big Feels. This is me in a lot of cases, but like there's a considerable amount of Roman Catholic cultural hegemony brain rot that steeps into the way that I think of wizards as a subset of dudes in fancy robes. And that's that they're like meant to be dispassionate and sexless ascetics. But you know what? That is a hilariously ahistoric and propagandistic take on dudes in robes. You know, the cardinals are a debauched aristocracy. More than a few of them fuck. Let's set aside the thing. that people are thinking about. Anyway, it's a boring take. It's a boring way to imagine wizards, so I decided to not imagine wizards that way. Get rid of that. And here are some thoughts on the wizards in Lord of the Rings. I think that Radagast the Brown fucks like an animal, and he has several occasional partners. Kind of a revolving door cast there. I think that the blue wizards are gay lovers who decided to get the fuck out of the game and enjoy each other. Good for them. Happy for them. I think that Gandalf the Grey fucks on occasion. Gandalf the White fucks with determination and quiet joy. We all saw that smile when Frodo wakes up at the end of Lord of the Rings. That is a person with a whole range of human emotion and a thousands of years long lifespan. And then there's Saruman, who can fuck right off because he'll make you come and he'll make you feel weak for doing it. Saruman is a stern father, and I hate it, but he's really good. Gandalf is a granddaddy, and I like that. Apologies to Kit.
Yeah. Hey, you can take that side of the bar. You and Bob.
Yeah, we got it. Hey, Bob, do you want to have a threesome with Gandalf?
Yeah, for sure. For sure I do.
Sick.
I'll bet you Gogo would come.
Oh,
Yeah. All right, Kit, you're number one.
Bob, it's Data.
What? Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
All right. It all checks out.
I am me. It is known that I love robots and the inexperienced. And Data loves cats, so I'ma train this AI how to pet the kitty. Yeah.
Oh, man. That's very good. My number one is Joker.
Aw.
Look.
Yeah.
The bones thing is going to be a problem, but he's going to earn it.
Yeah.
No one will make you come more. No one will go down on you for longer. No one is going to ruthlessly find out what your buttons are and press them until you're a sweating mess. He is a nerd with a chip on his shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
He can't just fuck you. That is insufficient. His ego will not abide that. He has to fuck you better than anyone else has ever fucked you,
Yes.
or indeed will ever fuck you, because that's just what he has to do in order to feel okay about himself. And I'm like, we should work on that, but we should work on that after you fuck.
Tell it.
Okay.
Take the fucking cap off. That's all. That's the only problem here.
No, then I can wear it. I can wear it backwards and look
there
like
you
a
go.
scamp.
See, I don't think he'll give it to you. Is the problem?
Well, and then I could just I don't know. I just bully him slightly. All right. Damn, you're number one.
Big feels. The Countess.
Okay.
Who's the real gay man here?
I was not on the vampires episode, and I haven't watched that season of American Horror Story. But based on what I read about the character and some of the little chunks of the episodes that I was watching, I find it virtually impossible to believe that if she's into you, she's not going to be mind-blowingly good. The fact that she ended up being the median for that episode speaks volumes about the immense inherent fuckability of vampires. Sex is a thing that the Countess is deeply passionate about. She has spent a century exploring all sorts of sex with all sorts of people. She often, sees others as beneath her and has no compunctions about hurting or killing them. But if she values you, which I have to believe, given the rules of this podcast, she would, then she will shower you with care and affection without losing that femdom energy. I do not say this often, and I do not say this lightly, but gimme.
Well, thank you all for those rankings. And now we move into let's unpack that. Kit, I gotta know. I want to fuck a robot so bad. Is it not a deal breaker for you that not gonna be thirsty, not gonna into doing stuff because it's interesting, but not horny? Doesn't actually into your body in that way.
That's fine. I'm not into my body in that way either, but this vibrator has feelings, so I'm down with that. It's better than me just using a vibrator, right? I've always found Data so charming. So I don't.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm kind of horny for charming. So
Yeah.
I don't need him to be like hungry. I feel like he would want you to have a good time. And that's like so great.
I feel like it goes further than that though, because like, he doesn't have like hormones, so he doesn't experience horniness in the way that we do. But like his intellectual curiosity is such a driving force of his personality that like the distinction between human horniness and his curiosity is like very slight. Like I think you could easily mistake one for the other.
Yeah.
And to the extent that like it wouldn't really matter that much.
There's also like a clinicalness to it that I think I find a little like kinky.
Yeah, I can do with clinical, but
Well, and also, on the beginning of Star Trek Nemesis, I believe, when Riker and Troy get married, he just like performs, and he's like does just kind of a regular song and dance routine. As he continues on, he becomes a better expressive performer, but it is very much a performance. So like, this is my thing with the way that Star Trek handles aliens experiencing, or like non-humans experiencing emotion, because they talk about this all the fucking time with the Vulcans, and it hits Data as well, where they're just like, no, I don't feel that. It's like, yeah, but like everything that you express, the way that you go about, and the fact that you have these preferences indicates that you do in fact feel a lot of things. It's just like you are outside of the human context. You experience these things differently than we do, and you are engaging with our shorthand and losing some nuance. So like, this is why I think Data makes a good case for that similar, like, hey, let's get that monster fuck. I want Data to do Data stuff. I want to appreciate Data on Data's terms, because he's just different. He is alien. And, that can include, you have to be pretty clear about the fact that he is kind of ace, but he's probably not sex-averse. We know that he's not sex-averse. We know that he's good, or at least he has the capability to. You just have to, like, the clearer and the more specific you can be with telling Data, hey, this is what I want you to do. These are the kinds of routines I want you to run. This is the cloud of sexual tricks and techniques and vibes that I want you to do. And just like he creates an entirely new way to play violin by taking the style of two artists who are very distinct from one another, and threads them together in a way that makes sense to him and reads as unique to everybody else, he can put together something that's absolutely mind-blowing.
Yeah, I don't think that like I would be nervous about telling Data what I wanted him to do in the same way that I would with like anybody else, because I don't think he's going to take it personal and worry that he's not good. It's just like okay, gathering data, learning experience.
Yeah, it reminds me of there's an episode in Next Generation where like Data decides he wants to be a stand-up comedian, and so like they like program the holodeck to be like a comedy club with an audience for him to like perform in front of. But like what he realizes is that the audience is programmed to laugh at anything he says or does, and that like takes it away from him, because he's like, no, I don't. It's not enough for me that I get laughs. I want to be the kind of person that makes people laugh, So, and I feel like that impulse is kind of like what you get when you want to have sex with someone, right? Like if you care about them, you're like, it's not enough for me to have sex with you. Like I want you to enjoy yourself, Like I feel like that's like that's the same kind of
I agree.
feeling, right?
I'm trying to work out, like, is that enough for me? Does that work for me? Or am I still going like, but you don't really want something from me? Like I can't give you something that you want in exchange. Like there's no mutuality in there.
Right.
And like, can I get with that? Or is it enough if the mutuality is just like, I'm just a person who likes making people happy. And it's like, is that enough?
I think that's the thing, is that you have to realize that for like you satisfying Data is a 0% physical thing.
Yeah.
Right? Data will be like either satisfied or dissatisfied by your encounter, but it's 100% a mental thing for him.
Yeah.
Right? It's just about like adjusting your expectations, I think, and realizing that what Data gets out of it is not what most like, you know, biological creatures would get out of sex, right?
He puts such a premium on inclusion and connection and experience. Whether that experience is good or bad, experience is has a neutral value. Or like he wants experience. He doesn't necessarily want good experiences or bad experiences. He just wants experiences. The fact that you said, hey, I want you to fuck me in this particular way, is you including and building a connection with him. And he is going to intrinsically value that. And that's not horniness. That's just Data being Data.
I feel like I like the mutuality of it too much to part with that part of it and just be like, nah, it's cool, man. Like, I don't need that. I'd be like,
Bob, can I make some, like, at least tell you what I'm seeing in terms of, like, having absorbed an amount of your...
I'm going to have to go to therapy after this.
No,
go for it. Hit me.
It's the thing that I think, because you, I mean, obviously you're a monster fucker. You have, you are clearly drawn to passion. And another thing that keeps cropping up as we go is... you want to be desirable even when you are repulsive, which is an interesting, because this is a through line here, and I think
trash fuck
exactly, because like that desire feels like it is recognizing an amount of it is recognizing a humanity or a personhood, and that's where all of these things come together. So like, why is fucking a werewolf appealing? Well, because it is an inhuman body that is driven by human needs and expressing them in an inhuman way. And it's like slovenliness feels inhuman because it's a technically toxic and dangerous way for us to live.
Yeah, you can't stay there.
Yeah, when you are angry with somebody else, when you are fighting with somebody else, when you are like pushing against them in that way, when you're at your shittiest, there's a part of you that is being kind of inhuman to that other person because we're herd animals. You know, we are political beings. We want to connect to one another. And the tension between the repulsiveness of kind of your Liz and Gavroche from the Ice Planet Barbarians, where they're just really shitty to each other all the time. And they still fuck anyways. And like that was catnip to you in a way that I didn't enjoy. And so like that, I think like part of the reason that Data doesn't work for you specifically is because like Data skips that step a little bit. He is operating on a different level. This is no true.
Yeah. It's not very personal.
Right, yeah. There's no underlying human there. There's always going to be a highly sophisticated robot that is a person in his own right. He deserves all of the considerations that we give to a person.
Oh, absolutely.
But he is not a human.
And I suppose in that sense can't accept another person in the way that another person can accept you and go like, you are flawed in ways that aggravate the shit out of me and that are like a mess and are difficult. And like, I accept and embrace that about you. Like, you are covered in Taco Bell, of course. Like, that wouldn't be neither here nor there for Data.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can... Okay, all right. I've learned to think about myself. Okay.
Zad, I had a question for you. And this, I think, this is just bringing up my issue with this particular character. You put Sisyphus and Boldy at number 2 on your list. Does this go higher or lower if you remove Boldy from the equation?
Lower. I think
lower.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I think so because it feels less special. I feel like there's a good, again, a make lovability list looks very different than a fuckability list does in this case. And I think, like, in that list, Sisyphus Solo and Brienne of Tarth are both excellent people to just, like, be in a relationship with and to help grow.
Yeah.
Or in Sisyphus's case, he's going to help you grow because, like, he has already done all of the work. And to me, The Rock makes things special and interesting and weird and creates a possibility space that I am interested in.
The Rock, Dan, you are missing out on so much shit you can do. Like, okay, that you have, like, this lever now in the relationship where, like, Sisyphus leaves the house and, like, it's a fucking rock, but, like, you can move the rock into some position and just be like, and then, like, I don't know, be like, you, like, wait till you hear him coming home and then, like, get in a position with the rock and then be like, oh, I didn't know you were coming home so soon. And then, like, just do random shit like that for no reason. And just, like, have this bizarre relationship where it's like, yes, it's the two of you, but, like, you're always, you know, interacting with this fucking rock.
Is there something that you wanted to try? Is there something that you wanted to try that you are too, you need a little bit of plausible deniability? Tell them that Boldy recommended it. Blame it on the rock.
I've been absorbing all of this information. Let me toss this out there and see if it rings true. I think Sisyphus, as he was initially banished to the underworld, was a deeply, like, I mean, clearly a man with some flaws, shall we say, a man in need of some personal growth. And I think that Boldy, to some extent, is kind of the symbol of him becoming a complete and whole person. And so Sisyphus with Boldy is a person who does not need anything. So therefore, it is a bigger statement for him to, like, accept you into that inner circle. Because he doesn't technically need anything, right? Like, he's already kind of made the journey. So, like, if he looks at you and says, yes, I want to do something with you, it's kind of like a bigger deal than if you look at more of these kind of, like, broken and incomplete characters who are just looking for something anywhere and will, you know, in theory, take anyone.
Yes, I think.
Does that ring true? I'm kind of just making this up.
No,
I'm just like theorizing. Does that ring true at all?
Yeah, he feels complete to me. Even the little bit that I know about him, he feels like a whole person with Boldy. That he's like, knows who he is.
He's the best he's the most well-adjusted person in Hades.
For sure.
There's a difference between being needed and wanted, and I felt in so many of my roles I felt needed, and for him, you know, he doesn't need me. What am I going to give to him? And the answer is, like, pleasant company, some fun experimentation, and boy, thank you for highlighting the distinction there, because if Sisyphus wants me around enough to ask me back, that does mean a lot.
No, I get it. One of the things that this show has made me realize is, like, how many facets there are to what makes someone a good lover or a desirable encounter. And honestly, like, that feeling of being seen and needed and accepted when you don't, strictly speaking, need to be, that's not just not nothing. That's, like,
almost
kind
everything.
Of powerful.
A big something, yeah.
This is a sharp left. Kit and Dan. Pepe is your number 2.
We're high-fiving over Pepe.
But would you put a ring on it, though? Like, would you keep fucking that prawn? Would you make that prawn, like, a committed part of your, like, sex life? Or is this prawn like a, you know, a one-time fuck, or a comet, like, comes around every now and then, like twice a year?
I don't think I'd put a ring on it, because I don't think I'd fall. I don't know that I would fall in love with Pepe, but, like, he's, like, open to a lot of things. So yeah, you go in for a lot more. Do you eat just one shrimp?
So I personally don't think that I would. Or at the very least, I think that if I did put I think that if I did put a ring on Pep, like, okay, when you say put a ring on it, do you just mean like enter into some sort of like kind of long-term thing, or are you saying
thing.
literal? Are you saying like literal marriage?
Just like long-term, whatever.
So okay, I think the ideal scenario with Pepe, like you can have a long-term thing with him. I think the worst thing you could do is let him get comfortable with it. Because I think he's at his best when he's hungry. And when he feels like he needs to apply himself, right? I think that if he starts to kind of take your relationship with him for granted, he's going to slip considerably.
That's a good point.
So I think you have to like leave him guessing a little bit. You know, I think you have to like be just a little non-committal. Just being like, yeah, this was fun. I'm not sure when I'll have time to do this again, but, you know, we'll see. Yeah.
Dan playing the mind games.
Yeah, no, you're probably right with Pepe.
I'm not saying this is what I would do, but like from a strategic tactical perspective, the more you let Pepe think that he's safe, the more he's gonna kind of let things slide. Like the less, because like for me, I think what makes him special is his hustle, right? Is his thirst, is his like enthusiasm. And I think that he only gets that when he's in a position where he sees something that he wants but doesn't yet have.
Here's maybe a quicker one, because it's something that I thought about including, but didn't. In part because I didn't know that the love for Joker was going to run as deep as it does. How do you think Joker's sexting game is? What do you think it's like? Do you think it's like, how does he do over text?
A lot of shit talking.
Oh yeah, no, I can see him being like playfully shady. Like especially if he thinks you can dish it back.
I think the thing that would turn off Joker the most is like someone who is a real sweetheart, you know, someone who is like, or like obviously like someone who has a thin skin, you know, like Edie is kind of the perfect partner for him in that way.
Yeah, she literally does not have thin skin. She's pretty great. Do you think when their relationship got like long term enough that he like found a port on that ship? He's like, no, I'm actually just gonna fuck. I'm gonna fuck all your bodies. Your biggest body.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, Kit. I think Joker fucked the Normandy before Edie was the AI in it. No! So that's my take.
Nice. And with that, we move into the final rankings of the medians. In the median of medians, Dan, take it away. Tell us some math.
Let's get it.
So, as is very often the case in this show, we have a number of ties. So, we are not starting at number 21. We are instead starting at number 17. 17 is the bottom of our list. And that slot belongs completely unsurprisingly to George Berger.
Nice.
Next up from George Berger, continuing his streak of just not being able to catch a break, is Mr. Burns.
I got him. It's fine.
At number 15, we have Frankenstein's Monster. At number 14, we have Tasselhoff Burfoot.
Okay. I also got him. It's fine. I'll beat him.
Tied for 13 is Tegan Javanka and Jafar. I don't know what that means.
There's a fanfic.
I don't know how to feel about that.
There's something there. There's something. I don't know what it is, but there's something.
I don't know. Well, okay.
She's a bit of a Jasmine, isn't she?
I think she'd be mouthy too. She'd be like, no, this is shit.
Okay, no.
This is great.
Because normally she's like super picky and like doesn't like, you know, anything that's kind of outside her comfort zone. In my fanfic, she just so happens to be exactly like her comfort zone is exactly what Jafar is into.
Aww.
Like she's just like, I've been waiting for this.
Is it
perfect?
I think this works when you think of Jafar as being like publicly performatively dominant, but when he is in private, he prefers or he needs to be dominated. And I feel like with her, she might just be comfortable taking that in private.
Oh yeah, if anyone was gonna dom Jafar, it would definitely be her.
I don't hate this couple.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good. We're finding some hidden truths here on this list. Let's continue. At number 12 is Joe Majors. At number 11 is Brienne of Tarth.
Is that the median of medians?
No.
Not yet.
Not yet. Not yet. Okay.
The median is not
You're right.
11 because we have fewer than
You're
21.
right. You're right. Okay.
So tied for number 10 is Plastic Man and Toucan Sam. Who I feel like Plastic Man is this close to the middle because he splits the vote.
Yeah.
Whereas Toucan Sam, everyone's just like, yeah, he's fine.
They're perfect. They're different kinds of medians.
He could Plastic Man could like throw his nose around the corner with a note that says follow your nose. And then it comes back to the bedroom.
Oh,
romantic.
Beautiful.
I hate it.
At number 9, we have Sisyphus and Boldy. At number 8, we have Go-Go. Very good showing for Go-Go.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
At number 7, we have Monkastrap. At number 6, we have Jade.
Mm-hmm. At
number 5, we have Gandalf. We have a 3-way tie for number 4.
Oh, shit.
With Data, Black Panther, and the Countess. So
that is
2 people's
weird.
number 1 on that list.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a weird one.
That's a weird one.
Very expensive.
I don't hate
The
it.
robot, the superhero, and the vampire.
They could make something work.
Number 3, we have Joker.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 is Clayface.
Wow. Good for him.
Which is interesting because, like, he wasn't... I think this speaks to the medianness of the list in general because, like, he only got as high as someone's number 4. But,
weird.
everyone else just kind of, had a lot of ambivalent takes.
He needs a win. I'm happy for him.
You know who did get a win? Hashtag Justice for Pepe.
Fucking Muppets! Yes, Pepe the King Prawn. Oh,
Officially the most fuckable of the medians. And
you
I
know
could
what?
not be happier for that.
Pepe would legit brag about that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he absolutely would. So that just leaves us with one question. Who is the median of the medians?
Mm-hmm.
And the answer to that, friends and neighbors, is Sisyphus and Boldy is the ultimate median.
And I think it's such a litmus test for who you are as a person. You're like, do I want to fuck a rock? Do I want to watch a rock? Or do I want a rock to watch me get fucked? Like,
That's right.
Where am I on that particular spectrum?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Turns out the median's between a rock and a hard place.
Oh, so we get to... Okay, now we're going to give him a beige sash that says median of medians and a little Burger King paper crown.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And
it's so
Do
beautiful.
you know what Sisyphus would say? He would say, "Thank you very much. Here, why don't you
Yeah.
take something just take something before you go, because he's a good guy."
Yeah.
And that takes us along to our ranking of, I guess, this arc of hard choices, this past 21 episodes of this very podcast. So all of the worlds that we have visited and boned our way through. So I guess, how fuckable have the past 21 episodes of hard choices been as a world?
I have to... Okay, I'm making the decision for myself to judge this based on this list of medians that we have gathered.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
As sort of a reflection of the larger first season, or however we want to think about this.
Okay.
And looking at it from that angle, I'm gonna have to give it a 4.
Wow. Harsh. Harsh.
For me, I said I feel like Data feels like the perfect median character, and he ended up being pretty high up on my list, which to me says I didn't start saying yes to characters, or rather, I stopped saying yes to characters pretty quickly on this list. There are some exceptionally high highs in this particular crop of characters, but some real low lows and just a lot of characters that I don't especially care about. So looking at this season from that lens, I will say it's a 4, but I still think it's been very interesting to talk about and consider.
I think I agree with you, Dan. I'm also going to give it a 4. As we high five over Pepe.
Absolutely.
I think
He's number 1, though, obviously. He's a 10.
Pepe is a 10. Pepe is such a fucking 10. I think
Yeah.
I am gonna
he's a
give
crustacean. He's got 10. Okay, sorry. 10, that's 10 legs. Anyway.
I think I'm gonna give it I think a 5 because I'm kind of in the middle and I've got some high highs, but then also I hit my nose about the middle of the list. So I feel that's about right.
Yeah, I hit like no between 16 and 18, but like
Wow, that's pretty far down.
because
Yeah.
like for some of these people, it's like Brian is a project, Frankenstein's monster is a project, kind of a dangerous project.
Mm-hmm.
Tegan is kind of an all right one night stand. Toucan Sam is all right, and like that's kind of my below my median. So I'm gonna push towards like a 6. But
All right.
I think also like that. Well, that's like selection bias for the show, where we are as the lists are getting made, there are some exclusions that are being made naturally. So we're only ever going to be able to find like maybe an upper median as opposed to a true median for the universe. So I think a 6 is probably about right.
Oh, man.
All right.
You're doing this real science.
Speaking of real science, that gives us an average boner rating of 4.75 boners for this list of medians and for the first 21 episodes of Hard Choices as a
Wow.
whole.
Man, I feel like I've had a lot more boners than that, but I accept that I may be an outlier, as they say. And now for the most important question. The question that keeps us, like, that warms our hearts and that shows us, you know, that we've grown, that we're different people. What did we learn here today? If not over the past 21 episodes.
I think I learned, thanks to Zad and Zad's take on Go-Go, that I think that I am missing a trick with a lot of these characters in only considering what a one-on-one fuck with them is like. Because the picture that you painted of Go-Go is like, that really is the ideal situation to bring Go-Go into. And in that way, Go-Go is kind of exceptional, like in that specific circumstance. And, you know, I, in the Dragonlance episode, I spent a lot of time trying to figure out what everyone's, like, ideal circumstance was going to be, but it was still a one-on-one experience. Like, I'm not sure how far afield I'm gonna go in terms of, like, envisioning, sexual experiences that aren't just me and the other person in the future episodes, but, like, that is an interesting thing to consider.
Well-
and something that I'd completely overlooked.
Let me before you do that, let me just warn you that like that may then change the way you look at the occasional character that's 2 characters.
Right.
So that's often like everyone's like, oh, 2, you know, automatically menage a threesome. But yeah, I don't know if you make everyone a threesome, don't they lose their power?
I mean, should they have more power than everyone else anyway?
Why are we not just doing foursomes? Why are we like?
So you know what, let's just
I'm
fuck
just-
all these
you know
characters
what?
at the same time.
Yeah,
This is
there
what
you
I've
go.
been saying the whole time. No, seriously, like this is it, there's a little bit of like a heteronormative monogamy prefixation or kind of preoccupation. Like this is I think why Hermes in the Hades episode ranked poorly, aside from him being annoying to other people. But like, we are conditioned from birth to be in that you are with one person at a time. You are with one person forever, ideally. Rut. Like, that's just like where we live. That's the air that we breathe. It's hard to even point to it sometimes. Yeah, so like that's, I guess, I don't know. Like I get that. Why don't you do, like, why do some people get to be threesomes? Well, because sometimes you've got a fucking Theseus and Asterius, and Theseus has to be there. And they suffer for it because Theseus sucks. It's weird. Shit's weird. Maybe that's the thing that I learned, is that there is, like, this is a problem that has infinite approaches to it. And even just thinking about that, like, I have gotten a lot of enjoyment unpacking that, even just some different approaches to the stricture, like the maximum that you are into them and they are into you. And that inflects attraction and fuckability in some interesting ways. And the way different hosts choose to engage with it or not engage with it. And, like, it is a show that it is, on the face of it, designed to be so transgressively sexual that it, like, nobody here is making those jokes or being shocking or edgy. It ends up just pushing through that layer, and it's just like, no, we're all adults here. This is just an honest show. An honest show where we make jokes and treat people like adults. That's like, boy, why can't we just do more of this?
Isn't that fucking wild that that's like a rare thing to just go like, hey, you know what's a thing that adults do? Have sex. And you know what else? We have opinions about how sex might be good or not good. And those opinions might be different.
And in so many other places, when you haven't carved it out as an explicitly sexual space, it has to have that patina of, listen, we all know that we're transgressing and having naughty fun here. That implies that everybody is going to regress towards the mean once you step away from the space where you've carved that out. And I'm just going to tell you, no, we're not. Like, that's just not how people live. We have to present that to society. Hopefully not forever. Hopefully in future generations, people can just be more honest. Not just about this, but about more things. And that's the beautiful nugget. That is among the beautiful things about this show.
I was like, I don't think I learned anything. I think I just got reinforced in me that I'm like, oh yeah, this show broke me. But like kintsugi, that like beautiful Japanese craft of like fixing pottery with gold. That's what this show did to me. Made me better.
Oh my God.
Damn it.
I think I definitely have changed where I stand on certain characters and certain things as time has gone on. But I think more than that, it's really challenged me to try and drill down into what the things are that are good for me and what the things are that are like deal breakers, because sometimes the deal breakers can be like so specific and I'm like, I don't even have a magnifying glass. Like, I don't know why it is that this particular character is on this side and this particular character is on this side. And I'm like, what am I looking at here? No, it's been a very challenging and bizarre experience. But also I'm very pleased to get to revisit some of these and go, you know what? I did not give Pepe enough love. And Pepe fucking deserves it. Pepe deserves to slap all of our asses.
And you know what? He's got enough hands that he can do all of us at once.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
The dream.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. Fucking winning. Thank you so much for investing in this show and for going on this journey and being part of this and having like been along for this ride since I first sent that tweet I guess it is now years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, that's an odd thought.
Mm-hmm.
It means the world to me. I love it. I love having you on the show. And now I would like you to talk about the stuff that you do. Dan, would you like to plug anything? Although you are not obligated to plug anything.
I do probably the second best podcast on the internet after this one, which is Garden Plots of Skeletor. You know, Skeletor does gardening stuff. He has minions and they're annoying but hilarious. It's very fun. It's written in part by MeganBob as well as by past Hard Choices guests Marissa and Hub. We have a whole bunch of people that do the show, including Kit. It's a lot of fun, and I'm really pleased and happy that I get to work on it. I think you'll really enjoy it if you haven't listened to it yet.
Oh, man. And we are definitely going to do a He-Man episode at a certain point.
Yeah, we are. So start researching those characters in Garden Plots, because we're going to talk about how they fuck.
But you're going to have to think about the like actual Masters of the Universe versions, not the Garden Plots versions, which are the superior ones. So,
well, thank you. Zad, what about you?
If you want to get in touch with me, you can follow me on Twitter, as long as Twitter seems to be chugging along these days. Been looking up from the last couple of months. But yeah, I'm over at Twitter at Zadkiel in green, Zadkiel in green. The big thing that is happening now is a new show that I originally pitched to one of my friends like 2 years ago, and then a few months ago, one of his friends pitched him the same concept, and he was finally like, all right, let's get it going. The show is called Game Woven. It is an actual play podcast in which we are creating a shared central world and then exploring it, fleshing it out, creating it, weaving it as you will, using any and all sorts of different tabletop RPGs. The first couple of episodes should be out by now. Those will be a little bit of kind of an appetizer of Dungeons and Dragons, along with a little bit of the skeletons and the ground itself. And just, it's like, man, it's something that I've been wanting to do for so long. This is a dream come true. So come and check that out. Again, that is Game Woven is the name of that show.
I'm so excited for you. You've been talking about that project for a really long time, so I'm very happy.
It's happening.
And I do the Next Wrestling Fan, and we are starting our second arc, and we are going to keep on going until Sami Zayn departs NXT. And so that is happening over at the Next Wrestling Fan. You can get that wherever you get your podcasts. And we talk about wrestles and the good wrestle boys who do them, and some of the good girl wrestle ladies who do the wrestles as well. And then occasionally William Regal looking very, very handsome.
Oh, I also am publicly on Twitter and Tumblr. However, if you want to know my handle, you will have to catch an especially chonky moth. It used to be a juicy boy. Go up to an attic that's really spoopy. I don't want one of them attics that was converted into like a small living room. Fuck that. It's got to be a real spoopy attic.
Okay.
Find a spider.
Okay.
Give it the moth. If it appreciates your gift, if it's a chonky enough moth, it will tell you my handle. Okay. Exactly. That's one of the easier ways to get my handle. So do that.
I don't want to hurt a moth.
You're helping a spider.
That's
the spider just wants a friend. No. Is what it is.
Yeah, you can tell yourself.
I'm gullible. I'm not that gullible. I do know about the food chain.
Spiders gotta eat, and if you want to know my handle, you gotta send it to moth to death.
Is that worth it? Is that worth getting in touch with Kit? Only you can answer that question.
Oh man,
it's your conscience.
Look into the eyes of that fucking moth and then go. Do I want to know Kit's handle? And the moth's like, I was planning on going on a trip to Europe with my friends this summer. And you're like, fine.
No. That moth is lying. Is gonna die in a few weeks anyway. Just
see, that's how we know you're gullible, Bob. Is that you fall for moth lies?
Moth lies. Yeah, that's what it says on my Twitter handle. MeganBobness falls for moth lies. Okay. Thank you so much for being a part of the show and for following us and for tuning into an objectively bizarre episode as we sort of do a retrospective using our boners, which is the way that we do everything on this show. And then, next month, we're going to use our boners to predict the fucking future with Tarot Major Arcana. Does it make any sense? Don't worry about it.
Guess we'll find out.
Oh, you'll find out.
Thank you so much, and we will see you again next month. All right, bye! This has been Hard Choices. If you want to show your support and get even more goofs from behind the scenes, visit patreon.com/hard choices and become a patron. You'll get exclusive voting rights and participation in every weird new thing we do. If you like the show, please consider leaving a 5-star rating and review on the podcatcher of your choice. It shows people what's fun about the show and makes it easier for others to find it too. This episode produced by Dan Mulkerin. Go listen to Garden Plots with Skeletor. He's a great Skeletor. Our theme song is Funk Me by Soundroll. This piece and all music used in this production is licensed through Uppbeat. You can find details in our show notes and listen to more great tunes at uppbeat.io, spelled UPPBEAT.io. The Hard Choices logo is designed by Claire Mulkerin. If you'd like to get into touch with us, look for the Smash Fiction Fan Faction on Facebook and join the conversation. Thank you so much for listening and hanging out with us. You're a peach!